Get all the listening devices out of your pockets.
Silence.
Perfect. All right, Steve, why don't you get us started?
Mike, how you doing today?
I'm awesome. How are you, Steve?
Good. 2 weeks from, less than 2 weeks now from the opener. Can you tell us, what you know about the team now that you didn't know when camp started?
Yeah, I think we've really pushed ourselves to become the best version of ourselves that we can be. I talked to them about that the other day. I think it's been a really good camp. I think it's been a really productive camp. I think we've really strained and found new ways to push ourselves to new limits. That's been a lot of fun to watch. I think they've learned how to push themselves through hard football, which has been really fun to watch. And so, it's getting close to that time where it's time to throw it out there and see how we stack up against everyone we play. But, so far, very happy with the progress and how we're progressing every day.
Do you have some positions where like, you've got the truck stuff, is it starting to settle in?
Yeah, I think, obviously it's starting to settle. I think tomorrow will be a big day. Tomorrow's our last scrimmage, and so I think we'll get a chance to get one more live evaluation under the lights. We'll do a lot of situational stuff and put the kids under some clock situations. And then, I think coming out of that, I think we'll get a pretty firm grip of how we want to go into Temple week, at least from a starting standpoint, and then kind of start refining our schemes around those guys over the next week and then get into straight Temple prep the week after.
Mike, going back to last Sunday's scrimmage, it seemed like there was a determined effort to run the ball between the tackles. Can you talk about how important it is for this team to be able to do that, and where you think you're at?
Yeah, I mean, we have to be physical. I mean, we've said that from day one. For us to be a successful program, we have to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. And so, I don't know that it was necessarily a concerted effort as much as it's just kind of who we are. I think, we challenge the team that we still think there's levels of physicality that they can get to. I thought one of the things that came out of the scrimmage, while we did run the ball efficiently at times, I thought both sides of the ball could be more physical, and that's been a challenge this week. We've had some physical practices this week, and hopefully that goes up even another level tomorrow.
Seems like there are a lot of running backs in competition to be what Coach John's called his bell cow.
Yeah.
Going back to Steve's point, is that a position that's beginning to settle, or is there still a lot of internal competition?
No, I think there's a lot of internal competition. I think that'll be one of the nice things. You go both ways with running back. Sometimes you've got a bell cow. We had Mateo last year, and he was a workhorse for this program and did a lot of great things. I don't know that we're going to get to that point this year. I think what we have this year is a lot of really good backs with a diverse skill set, and I think we're trying to figure out how to best utilize the group. I don't know that one of them necessarily is going to step up to be that guy, but I do think that collectively we've got a stable of guys that can be very productive for us.
You said earlier this week that consistency at the wide receiver position was something you needed to close the gap on. Have you seen that close yet, or is that something you have to see tomorrow?
Tomorrow. I mean, I think again, there's days where it's good and there's days where it wasn't. I thought we went out today and threw the ball around really well. I thought we had a very efficient day throwing and catching the football today. Yesterday it wasn't quite as good. I just think that's something that we're pushing towards every day. And I think you want to see tomorrow over the course of 2 hours that we can go out there and consistently execute what we're trying to do in the throw game.
What do you need to see to make the decision about who's going to start under center for Temple against Temple?
I think we're getting close. I think it's probably just a little bit more. Again, it's the consistent. I don't mean to keep using that word, but it's the word. Just consistency. I think, go out there and be able to and execute the offense and move the offense down the field at some consistent level. And if we can see that tomorrow, hopefully we get a little closer to deciding that.
Coach, in a sense, you're not just building for this season, but beyond. How do you find that balance in your first year about taking care of what's in front of this team and at the same time building the foundation for the future as well?
Yeah, I think that's always the balance. I think the balance that you always have to do is you owe it to your locker room to lay the foundation for your culture of how you want your program to look moving forward, which sometimes means making decisions that aren't the best in the present. But I think that's always a balance that you have to have as a coach. I think the second you get into instant gratification or instant satisfaction, you start shaking the foundation of your program, and hopefully we'll never have to do that. So I don't know that I feel like I'm balancing that in year one as much as I just feel like you're always balancing that. You know, we have standards in our program. We have standards of what we want our culture in our locker room to look like, and we need people to live up to them. And whoever they are, we just have to be consistent with how we demand that.
Piggybacking off that question right there, how do you control the expectations you have for year one with this program? You know, you come in, it's a whole clean slate for you guys. How do you temper whatever expectations you have in your first year?
Yeah, I think expectations are always the same to me. The expectations is that we go out and we lay it on the line for Duke every week. You know, I think we have internal, expectations that we want to get to a bowl game, right? We want to beat certain teams on our schedule. We all know who they are, right? We want to make sure that we're competing for ACC championships. Those goals are our goals, and they're never going to change. But I think you focus it on what you can control now, what you can improve now, and the daily process that it takes to get you where you want to go, right? And so even if you don't ultimately meet on paper goals, you know that you're striving for them and you're pushing to get better every day. I think that's kind of what we're challenging our program to do.
When you speak of the program, 50-plus former players here last week, how important is that to kind of connect the past and their buy-in for the program, not just for this season, the next season, but just kind of on a bigger picture?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's huge. I think, if we don't want to be a successful team. We want to be a successful program, and that's something that's really, really important to us, and that's connecting everybody. That's making Durham a part of it. That's making our alumni community a part of it. It's following through on the things that we said in the press conference. I think that's probably the biggest thing is, everybody says what they want to do, how they want to go about doing things. We're trying to be really, thorough in how we follow through with the things that we want to do, and so we said it was important for us to get out in the community and bring Durham back to campus. We're trying to do that. I think we've been very visible doing that. We wanted to reconnect the players to our program. We've been very active in doing that, and I think we just want to be a group that follows through on what we say. We won't speak a big game. We won't overhype who we are or what we're about, but what we say we really want to follow through and do.
What was that like? There was a little press release about it, but what did you guys do with those former players, or how does that weekend work?
Yeah, it was basically a former player welcome. We brought them back. They kind of went to our walkthrough. They came out to the scrimmage. We kind of gave them some access to what was going on in our program, what we were doing in recruiting, what we were doing in strength and conditioning. Got a chance to visit with them all myself and kind of go through an overview of the program and what we were doing, and just kind of open the doors to what we're doing. We want to be very transparent with our loyal fans, and obviously our players are the beginning and basis of all of that. And so, we were very transparent with our vision for where we believe this program can go and our plan for how we're going to get it there, and then the support we're going to need from them to follow through with it.
Along those lines, what are some things you're doing to engage students more? I know at the basketball game earlier you mentioned moving behind the visitors bench.
Yeah.
Their seats and all that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things. I mean, we've changed our tailgating situation, so we've got a brand new student tailgate this year, which I think will be great. I'm going out tonight to Cameron to talk to the incoming freshman class. I'm heavily involved in orientation. We've got student leaders coming in next week. I'm going to sit down and have dinner with about 40 student leaders on campus, just to kind of make sure everybody knows that we believe we're in this thing together, and that we can't be a successful football program without the community around us and without the student base around us.
You mentioned recruiting. I know you cannot talk about specifics, individuals, different things, but it looked as if for me you had kind of a slow start, but then boom, you just had a lot of guys in succession. How are the guys that you're meeting out there, how are they accepting of Duke, your vision of Duke, and what does it look like moving forward? Are things just out on the trail in general?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have an amazing product to sell. I think we're one of the schools that can offer an elite academic education and opportunity to play football at the highest level. I think we've got an elite coaching staff. I think we've got amazing people in our building, and I think we've got an alignment from the top of this university down that maybe hasn't been here in the past the way it is now. And I think all of that together has been very attractive. I don't know that we were off to a slow start, and I only say that because like I just think it takes relationships, and I think that's one of the things that when we got here, we spent a lot of time trying to forge relationships, and I think we've got a solid solid group coming in right now, and we're real excited about all the kids that have decided to join us without getting into the specifics of it.
There's been a lot of talk about culture, buy-in, doing things the right way. How would you say that the anticipation of week 1 has kind of changed that within the locker room and kind of how the players are reacting to new changes and their own personal buy-in?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully not at all. I mean, hopefully culture is something we live 24/7, 365. I think that's, we constantly talk about how the challenges uh, change every day, right? It's easy to be in a hotel room locked up in training camp and do the right things. Now students are starting to come back and social life's starting to pick up, but we still have to do the right things, and football has to be a priority. You can't be successful in this game if it's not a priority in your life, and that's just the reality of it. And we don't never talk to them about sacrificing anything. We never talk about giving up anything. We just talk about prioritizing being good at football. If you want to be good at it, you got to prioritize it every day. And I think we've done that at a very high level to this point, and hopefully we continue to.
Like I remember back on signing day in December, you were talking about how far behind you guys were with the 23 and 24 classes. I take it you feel like you're caught up at this point, but like when did you feel like you actually had some firm footing with those guys?
Um,
Sometime in the June hailstorm.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's hard because that class had been getting recruited for 18 months, and we got in a year into that cycle, and so it's a credit to our coaches just the work they did, and our recruiting office the work they did to build those relationships, and so I thought we played catch up really, really well. And I think, we're in a really good spot moving forward now because we raced. We had to race to catch up, and we did. And now I think we're on firm footing. I don't know that I ever know exactly when that happened. It was, everybody followed it, right? There was a windfall in the month of June, and there was a time where, it didn't feel like we caught up, and then all of a sudden it felt like we were in a really good spot. So it was a good month.
How were special teams looking? I know you had some veteran kickers, but
Yeah.
what about the guys that, so what are you looking for in your players to be a special teams guy?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a huge piece of our game here at Duke. I think we've got to spend a lot of time on it, and we have been. Obviously, it starts with Charlie Hamm and Porter Wilson, our kicker and our punter, and both of those guys have a lot of experience in this league, and they've had really strong camps. Charlie's kicking the ball as good as he's ever kicked it, so we're real excited about the progress he's made, and Porter's had some really good days punting the football as well. We've got two returnmen who I think are really talented. Jalen Stinson obviously had a really good year last year with kickoff returns. Calhoun does a tremendous job back there catching punts. And so we're excited about what he brings to us. And then just, you'll see every one of our stars on special teams. Every guy that we have who's a really talented football player, if he can help us on special teams, he'll be out there doing it. And so, all of the names that you would expect to see on our offense and defense as our top players will be on our kickoff and our punt team. And, they'll be running down the field doing things.
Coach, when you brought Deckers in, he was hyped as an elite long snapper. Is that hype justified?
Yeah, and he can snap the ball. I mean, his timing's really good. His accuracy's really good. I mean, he's been really consistent doing it. And I think the other guy who gets lost in all of this is Jackson Hubbard. Jackson Hubbard's an elite holder. He does an amazing job putting the ball down. So I think we're in a really good spot, special teams wise.
Coach, what's been your observation throughout the first scrimmage and practices of the defense? I know last year a lot of times, couldn't force many turnovers, forcing 3-and-outs, 11 hats to the ball. What's been your observation? Just how do you feel about the defense going into week 1?
Yeah, I think constant improvement would be the observation. I think they're, hungry to change who they've been. Everybody knows, statistically, we've been very bad. I think they've really put in a lot of work to change that. I think they play a lot harder than we did in the spring. We execute a lot better than we did in the spring. We play a lot harder than we did camp day one. We continue to get better on that side of the ball, and I think if that group really wants to change, that's going to be an ongoing process. I don't think, game one, there's still going to be a lot of room for growth. And so we'll be the best we can be for game one, and hopefully we just continue to get better week in and week out as well. No. So Stan, I miss Stan.
Okay.
So Stan coached at Penn. I know Stan a little bit. I wouldn't claim to know him well, but he was before me. So I think maybe a year or two before I got there, had left and gone to Villanova. And so we've kind of missed each other a little bit like that over the years. But, a lot of respect for Stan. Stan's a really good football coach. Good.
Any other questions for Coach?
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.